You are handsome or beautiful at 20. You are strong at 30. You are wise at 40. And you are rich at 50. And yet you know that physiologically, the body weakens as you move. So there are certain things that you should do when you are young. And there are certain things which you should do when you are old. I like Psalms 71. As you must see, I'm using different sections of the Bible to know that I'm enthusiastic. Because I usually do this because sometimes people think that people have studied science, are not religious. To be in your old age. Some of the Christians here, or even non-Christians, can read Psalm 71. It is about asking the Lord to continue blessing you, giving strength, fighting for even when you are in your old age. You can pray that prayer even when you are 20. Why you are handsome at 20? There are reasons. Strong at 40. If you want to work, do a lot of things. Do when you are still 30 towards 40. That's when you can run up, down here. But if you just someone reaching 60, 65, 70, that's when he's trying to initiate a new business. Rarely it happens. Like, for example, the person who started the KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders, he did it when he was in his 70s. And eventually by the 80s, he was a billionaire. Yes. But it is very rare. But you plan systematically. Also, there is another thing that also says that you cannot have all the three things at the same time. That is money, energy, and time. When you are young, you have the energy, you have the time, but you have no money. When you are middle age, you have energy, you have money, but no time. And when you are old, you have no energy, you have money, and then you have time. If you find yourself in a situation where you are old, you don't have money, you don't have time, and you don't have energy, then you have planned very poorly for your vision. Thank you. But we find other things that are almost the same. Like one of the things that the Christians say, this was the Son of God, and I think that is one of the reasons why he was killed. If you had said, I'm just an ordinary prophet like all the others, probably he would have saying he's a Son of God, and saying he's a Messiah. And also people keep on questioning that how is he a Messiah when he did not accomplish what the Messiah had said he would come. But that is also another story. But he came with a mission. The question is, did he accomplish the mission? He did his work, certain part, and then he went into because they don't tell us between 12 years and 30 years of age what he did in between, but most likely he was working with the Father, working with the Father as a carpenter. Okay? Then in 3 years he did all of what we know about what he did. And then his mission time came and said, they have done what? It is finished. Actually, even I think when he was about to die, he said, he knew that his time had come. He went to pray on the mountain. He left the disciples. He came back, he found them asleep. He said, you people, you are sleeping, and yet the time has come. He knew that actually the mission was, and for him he knew that even he had come to die. Regardless of that, even when he knew that he had come to die, because he had a human body, he feared. And it was tough, because he prayed eventually that if this is not, if this is possible, let the cup of death pass. But of course, eventually, you know what happened. So once you have the mission, eventually when it will be accomplished, how it should be able to be accomplished. Okay, any question about mission? So those three things are very important. I wanted to emphasize them. Let us now proceed to the principle number 4, which is, let me see if I can share this. Members online, I hope you can see the number 4.
Yes, we have seen it.
That's good. Yeah. So here.
Professor, I had a small supplement to make.
Yes, please. Yes, Dr. Five.
Yes. I like where we are coming from the mission and the vision.
Okay. Yeah, so thank you very much, Faith, for that supplement. Members here have listened, and I think also those ones online have done. So, yes, indeed, of course, in terms of our workshop, as a researcher, indeed, of course, as I had said, you can be able to establish a business, but you not get to know that it is the business that you'll have other people manage largely. Okay? And also the examples that the faith is bringing, especially on the innovations and the patents and how can be able to create certain products where those products are used and then we are paid. So all those ones are a part of the innovation that is needed. Okay? So it comes back, of course, to what you plan. If you are someone as other people have done totally 100% into academics, you get your salary, you do your research, that is all, you don't think about anything else, that is not good. So what we are looking at here is, for example, are you a pragmatic researcher? Such that even when you have income, you are not simply having income from salary and you feel comfortable. It is unfortunate that among the things that people don't teach, one of them is about money. Even people have studied business, entrepreneurship, business administration, business management, finance, accounting. They don't actually teach them about certain principles of wealth creation. There is a framework which is called the 21st century skills. These are the skills that are needed for someone to survive in the 21st century. To look at them, they are very good. They encourage soft skills, but they were shocked to find that there is nothing which talks about money and financial literacy and financial management. People were here under MMU private. You might find that the difference is huge in terms of salary, but the impact in terms of transformation, you find it is limited because of the aspects of financial literacy. When the income increases, the expenses quickly rush. There is a principle in the Richest Man of Babylon book about paying yourself first, which many people don't know, and many people don't. They pay all the other person, all the other people, except themselves. So there is that principle, pay yourself first. So being in academics, being a researcher doesn't mean you don't actually have any business running. It means that you can be able to commit investment and other people are able to operate. The dynamics of business establishment and all that, it is a different now kind of workshop. Because I have taken time to study, there is now another principle which I was asking someone recently who teaches finance and accounting, that do you know the principle of profit first? The person has not heard about it. Because in business, in most cases, people teach about income minus expenses equals, and the person really advocates that you can run a business right from day one, making profit, instead of, gives so many different examples. You may see some of these big organizations, big establishments, people driving big cars, but actually they are bleeding inside. They are not making money. So there are some dynamics also associated with business. Yeah. So let us now proceed, unless there is a question, to number 4. But simply because you have seen somebody has published a paper and the paper saying, hey, they are praising, then you feel, let me also just write a paper. Remember, you set your goals to achieve your mission and then eventually your vision of your academics. So, it is important that whatever you set, Albert Einstein said that if you want to have a happy life, tie it to a goal, not people or things. So tie your goal to a life, rather tie your life to a goal, not to people, not to things. Not because so and so has told me to write a paper, not because I am looking for promotion, not because, but intrinsically you should be able to know that you are competing with yourself. The papers you have written at MMU, they should not only be relevant at MMU, but elsewhere. So be an international researcher. Me, I usually tell people that they are developing their career based on an institution. That let me go to pursue this course, so that when they come, they can fix myself in this position. What about by the time you complete the course and the position is not there? You find someone is simple zeros, they are thinking that is not the way it's supposed to. So, in terms of goal setting can lead to happiness. It can clarify your behaviors. Goals can give you feedback. As we shall see, goals encourage you to use your strengths. And designing these goals, the most important thing you have to remember is that they are intentions. that influence these goals. The second step is for you to generate a pathway to the goal. What are the different pathways of achieving your goal? So if you are interested in getting a PhD, what are the different pathways? But it says that obstacles are those faithful things you see when you take your eyes off the goal. Obstacles are those threatening or faithful things you see when you take your eyes off the goal. So when you take your eyes off the goal, eventually what will you see? Definitely. So meaning that you must be able to set your eyes. There is a story I read of 3 younger boys. 2 were a little bit thin, medium size, and one was fattish, not like someone you would think that is actually fit. There are these railway rails where you step on one foot and you can move on balance. So these medium-sized small ones challenged this fat one that you cannot walk 3-4 steps without falling off the rail. So when they went on the rail, actually for them they moved 2-3 steps and they would fall off. And surprisingly for him, whom they thought may not be able to take even 2 steps, moved straight and could not fall off. So they wondered what was happening. So they came to ask him, what are you, do you have magic? What is it that you are doing that is keeping you really moving on the rail without falling off? And they discovered the difference. For them, when they were moving, they would look down on where the steps are actually stepping. And eventually they would do what? Fall off. But for this other fat man, you would look ahead at a certain target. Like, for example, you'll walk up to the other point, then you'd move straight, and you would reach that point. So the difference was that he had already in his mind a goal where he wanted to reach. But these ones were simply looking at their feet. So, in terms of goal setting, you need to overcome the obstacles. And usually these obstacles are not the ones which you find outside. They are the ones that you already have, you live with, in the form of your beliefs, in the form of your attitudes, in the form of your norms, in the form of your values. And these actually hinder your progress. If your goal is get a PhD, you start thinking, in my family, who else has it? Nobody in my family has even gone beyond the senior 6. Will I really manage? Am I not being too ambitious? Already, the moment you start thinking like that, you are cutting off your chances of success. You say, I'm targeting to write 15 papers. This year, you say, but even my dean only was able to write 3 papers. Will I really manage? Those are beliefs, those are obstacles. You are setting your eyes off the goal. Eventually, you are looking at the obstacles. And you make the obstacles much bigger that eventually they overshadow the goal. This principle number 5, get advice from a trusted mentor. Unfortunately, it's something that is not common within our universities. That's why I'm saying a trusted mentor. A mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability in you than you see in yourself and help to bring it out of you. A mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself. A mentor is a role model, number 1. Is a teacher, number 2. A mentor is an advisor, number 3. A mentor is a very good ally. As you work towards being a professional researcher, who is your mentor? Do you have one? Do you have a trusted mentor? Or you want to reinvent the wheel? Sometimes you might have no confidence in yourself, but the mentor can give you the confidence. Sometimes you have no hope, but the mentor can give you the hope. Sometimes you don't know what to do. The mentor will know what you can do. Sometimes you are frustrated. The mentor will know that it's only temporary. So there are so many things that you can be able to get from the mentor. This mentor here, for those members online, the mentor that is on the left, the gentleman in a blue coat and a red tie, has already reached where this younger man wants to reach. That one is very important. We usually have such type of mentors. But then we also have this mentor this was on the left. On the right, the lady in a black skirt. She may not have gone that way where she is showing this younger lady to go. But the wisdom of age can guide and tell where you should go and where you should not go. Also, that is a mentor. So the question is, take 1 minute in your phone book, in your email address, or even in your mind, 2 or 3 mentors that you can consider under principle number 5. Members online, what we are saying is that you take a minute or 2, search in your phone book, search in your email, search maybe in your diary, in your contacts, even maybe somewhere in your head, for 2 to 3 people that you consider mentors under this principle number 5 of getting advice from a trusted mentor that you can run to for advice when it comes to. So you can give 1 or 2 minutes, then the members will share those ones who have, but may not necessarily have to mention. Maybe you can say those ones who have got the mentors, yes, you have 3 or 2 or 1 or none. Yeah, specifically that so and so, I know them and everything, not just to describe that my mentor would be someone who is like this and this, but to pin down that so and so. Usually I have seen on social media, for example, just to answer that someone says that from your contacts, which person can you call right now that they need 500,000? And says, okay, here it is, oh, let me send it. So also now, when it comes to the mentor, which person you'd call, or make appointment they need as your mentor from the contacts that you have. That is what we are meaning. A role model is different from a mentor. If you look at someone and then you say, I think you'd like to be with this, let me see how you practice. Then at a distance, is not a mentor, but a what? A role model. But a mentor is someone that you can reach out to for advice when it comes to research, for guidance. If you have some issue that you have encountered that requires advice, you go to that person. And then that person is able to give you the required advice and works with you in your journey of research. And actually, eventually, you find that that person is that mentor and you, definitely there will be some differences because mentors don't want you to be a clone of themselves. You also be an independent, but there are certain traits that you have picked from this mentor. Trust is very important in the relationship between the mentor and the mentee. That is the type of mentor that he actually should be pursued. Not a mentor who is going to command, do this. They want you to behave like this. That is the one who eventually wants to turn around to make you behave like him or her, which is exactly to become a clone. So this trusted mentor is someone whom you know that, for example, some people say respect. The person you know that has goodwill, and the person you know that is trustworthy, and also is going to be able to also be able to be happy when you progress. Okay? To be able when you progress. Not the one who will bring you an opportunity and then when you pursue, say, this one is there because of me. Principle number 5, getting advice from a trusted mentor. So for me, I know that as has been pointed out by some members here, is that the mentors usually are not readily available in our context. Okay? So you find that either some people simply learn by try and error, or they move along their career without necessarily having a mentor. They figure out things on their own. Maybe they work, maybe they don't work. Okay? So, but a mentor, even when you figure out together with a mentor, doesn't mean that things will work. But the person has goodwill. That even when they fail, you have his back. Okay? So, that is the kind of thing that we need to know. And if it's a colleague, just a colleague, maybe that one can be an advisor. There is a difference between an advisor and a mentor. A mentor is a combination of the things that we talked about. Role model is there. Teacher is there. Advisor is there. So, a combination of all those things should be found in a mentor. It appears strange to some people, especially when it is presented in the context of the academic environment. So when we engage in academic discussions, we tend to look at things from the rational point of view, looking at the reason, looking at cause and effect, looking at understanding why certain things are happening the way they are. And usually when it comes to research, we follow the same principles, which we call the scientific method of inquiry. Intervene in the things you have done. For the things that you have not done, not because you have not done them intentionally, but because of your limited knowledge. When I rate a journal paper, I follow all the requirements as stipulated by the journal editorial board, pointing out what type of paper is to be published. If it should be a paper in ecology, in a research that has been done in Africa, then I know that I'm not publishing a research which has been done in Asia. If the paper is about business administration and management, and the journal is publishing papers from Asia on reptiles, I cannot send it there. So the point is, I follow the instructions of the editorial board. I prepare the paper, submit as recommended. I have done my part and I am 100% satisfied. What next? You seek the intervention of the higher power beyond where you cannot be able to reach. That's what it means. That usually tells some people about seeking the intervention of the higher power. Not a formula in terms of science, but it is more in terms of a procedure. Before you do anything, seek the intervention of the higher power. Not for it to come and do what you should have done, to give you wisdom, guidance, revelation. And that is usually part of the planning. People have got ideas, very unique ideas, by seeking the intervention of the higher power. Beyond the ordinary. You even wonder, how could this person have thought about this? This intervention of the higher power comes in two forms. Comes when you discover the purpose of why you are existing. Why couldn't you have existed 300 years ago? Or maybe you did. Why couldn't you probably have been made to exist 300 years from now? Why now? That reason you must be able to discover through the intervention of the higher power. Why have you found yourself here at MMU? You may think that you made a decision, but the reality is that you did not make a decision. It was as a result of a series of very complex and intricate, interconnected activities that eventually you found yourself here at MMU. And even not at MMU, but even specifically in this workshop. There are a number of circumstances behind, beyond even imagination, that have resulted you to be here. So by doing your purpose, the intervention of the higher power comes in. So that's why sometimes you might wonder that, why is it that there are some people who seem to have the intervention of the higher power positively, but they are bad people. Sometimes the second reason is that the intervention of the higher power comes in to use you for the benefit of others. When you read the Bible, this time not in the Old Testament but in the New, when the disciples of Jesus met a man who was blind from birth, they said, what happened? This man was born blind. Who sinned? Was it the parents or this man? Do you know what Jesus answered? Neither of the man did not sin, and even the parents did not sin. But he was born blind such that the greatness of God can be seen or exhibited through him. So there are certain things that the higher power provides that sometimes they are to use you to do what you are supposed to do. Apart from that, we find that still the higher power presents different gifts, which they call the gifts of the Holy Spirit. Someone can be gifted in business. Someone can be gifted in academics. Someone can be gifted in knowledge. Someone can be gifted in prophecy. Someone can be gifted. That's what he talks about in 1 Corinthians. Different gifts, but by the same Spirit, the higher power. So intervention of the higher power is important. Even when you are starting to plan about your philosophy, you need the knowledge, the revelation. Planning your vision, to be able to discover, even discovering yourself. We usually use some famous processes of meditation. Meditation is a very powerful tool. Maybe some people don't know it, but it helps you to discover yourself. And when you do so, you are actually linked with the intervention of the higher power. Then, once you have done that, you have gotten the guidance. That's why there are different theories about dreams. When you sleep at night or during the day, you dream. Actually, every night you sleep, you dream. Only that most times you forget what you have dreamt, and then you wake up, you don't remember, you say, I didn't dream anything. But every night you dream. So there are different theories. One of them suggests from philosophy that actually the spirit, which is much part of you, every night wants to escape because the body has imprisoned it. And remember, we said when you are dreaming, you can do so many things. You can fly over the mountain, you can kick, you can do what? You can jump over a building, you go down, you walk, you run, which you cannot do physically. They say that the body, when it is in the physical, like now, it confines the spirit. So every night the spirit wants to escape. So it goes to explore. So by the time you wake up, it comes back and then it is confined. But then another one is what they call now the scientists, the threat stimulation theory. That is part of stimulating threat such that you can be able to survive in the actual world of living when you are actually physically awake. But go down to the spiritual part. It is the revelation that you get. Much of the Old Testament and even Dr. Abdu can testify still also in the Quran. There's a lot of information that came to people through dreams. And God would come to people in dreams, even including the story in the Bible about Solomon asking for wisdom. It was in the dream, it was not in. So there is an opportunity for individuals to tap into the higher power. We as the physical people, in the physical, we are so much weak and restricted. Then the second level is the mind, much broader, but also restricted. Then you go to the soul, which is much broader than the mind, but also restricted. Then you come to the spirit. 4 parts. So all those ones must be combined, especially from the spirit, because everything that we do is actually spiritual. We are more of a spiritual entity than a physical one. It's the one which eventually forms electrons, protons, neutrons, and those ones form an atom, as we know. Then the different atoms combine to form molecules, and then the different molecules form compounds. And eventually whatever you see is made up from 0.00000 something. So that means what is 99.9999 is not seen. So which one is broader? Which one is bigger? The one that is seen or the one which is not seen? So that's why from the scientific understanding we say that the human is made up actually of the spiritual, not much more actually. It is made up of the spiritual rather than the physical. So every time you think of anything to do, it is important to first reflect of the spiritual nature of us, of ourselves. By praying means you ask what you need. I pray that this paper, I pray that the reviewer is great. You know, sometimes someone can be very good. For example, even these people have been applying for jobs here. You find someone has all the things, but you find the person has not been shortlisted. Why? You find either there was something, or maybe someone went now, instead of going out to get a cigarette, comes back and puts it there and doesn't make anything, says this one is it. Something happens. So you pray. Now the fourth level, before you finish, you say, thank you, God. You have already done it. You look at yourself with this paper, with the news in your email box. Congratulations, the paper has been accepted. You say, thank you very much. You know, these processes usually are not talked about, but that's what it means. Someone just goes and says, because the Lord is praying, because the Lord told us in Matthew 25 that we should pray like this. Our Father, what in heaven, Lord, then you wake up and you go. Fine. But then there are some aspects that you need to take into consideration. And those are the things that actually eventually help in terms of. Now, that is from the spiritual. But now, when it comes to the science, the intervention of the higher power means that the brain, yours and mine, if it is functioning very well, it functions in 4 levels. Right now, when you are awake, doing whatever you are doing, it is in 1 level. Then when you go to sleep, before you go to sleep totally, it enters another level. And then when you are asleep, it goes into another level. And then deep sleep, also it goes into another level. So when you dream, actually it is more of the second last level to being awake, to waking up. So meaning that in that, from the scientific point of view, you can be able to get information you get through what we call extrasensory perception. So there is ESP, which we call extrasensory perception, that means the brain serves as not ears, nose, these organs but the brain also serves as a sensory organ when it is in the appropriate level. There is a book which was written by George Silver, and it is called, or titled, The Silver Mind Control Method, which he uses extrasensory perception to be able to perceive information. Sometimes you can be searching something, you look for it for a long time, and you think it has gotten lost. But when you are just there on your computer, you see the file there. And yet you have been looking for this, what happens, or what happened in that kind of context. So there are so many things we can talk about the intervention of the higher power. Spirituality is an intrinsic expression, meaning of self, the meaning of life, the purpose of life, hope, and surrender to the Supreme Being. Do your part. Fulfill your physical requirements, but well knowing that there is a higher power that can be able to intervene. For some people, God is the higher power. Because for me, I've been using the higher power from Christianity and all that. Others, the higher power isn't associated with religion, or it is a connection which we share with all the living. Or some people don't try to understand the higher power. They believe humans can't comprehend it. And then, regardless of what a higher power is to you, having a faith in a higher power can benefit your recovery. And some people have found that the people who fall sick and have a belief in a higher power, when it comes to recovery, they recover much faster than the ones who don't have belief. Research shows that. So what we are trying to show here is that in the process of working as a researcher towards your profession, don't neglect this part, as has been done by many people, thinking that actually research and publication is simple academic. It also has this other connection.
As I said some time back, for us teachers, we always learn friends. The learning cycle continues and continues. It doesn't stop. So we have learned today, we shall continue to learn. Why does everybody not come? You can never force people to do things. We have publicized it on the platform. We have sent people information. Those who have come are the ones who are interested and go with them. We cannot. Though you have a point, because some of these things should be showing as evidence of people's growth in the university. So I think we have to think of the director, sir, we have to think of certificates when people go attend such activities. Let the people who have participated get a certificate. This is academic growth. This is professional development. Because you have attended this, those who have not attended it have not got what you got. So we need something. I think we could think around there. It's not very expensive. A paper is just 1,000 to print out with the content. We we could think about that. It's not a lot of money. But that one differentiates us from those who did not come to attend. Perfect. So tomorrow we begin 9, arrival and registration of participants.
Yes, my name is Bis Enosh, the assistant lecturer in the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, Mount Elizabeth University. Today, we had a very wonderful workshop and training on how we can develop our potentialities as research professionals. Professor Moses Muhumuza has elaborated on how best we can improve and become research professionals. Specifically, I was impressed when he took us through the research development pathways, especially on how we can be research professionals. He has taken us through a number of principles. For example, he tells us that to be research professionals, we need to have a research mission. You have to have an academic mission, vision. But also he says our personality plays a lot in how we can become academic professionals. And interestingly, the participation and the workshop has been very participative. We had a chance to interact, to share ideas, and above all, today, he has elaborated on the principle of engaging higher powers in research. Much as we are dealing with the natural sciences, but also I was glad that even the powers from higher sources can be integrated in research. I thank the professor for the facilitation.